What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Taurean Reloaded channel. If you are new, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click that bell. Have your notifications set to all so you can be notified every time I upload a new video and go live. Also, be sure to comment, like, and share the content on my channel on your various social media platforms. I would greatly appreciate it. So today we will be talking about Marilyn Manson. Now, this is probably the absolute first time I have ever talked about Marilyn Manson on my channel. But an article was sent to me that revealed something that I just felt conveyed to have to speak on. Now, in case y'all are unaware, Marilyn Manson is currently caught up in legal battles right now because a person from a few years ago has accused him of violations. Y'all know what that's code for over here. They accused him of violations. But because of the privilege that he has in this establishment known as the US of A, it looks like he might actually possibly walk away from this because, according to Rolling Stone, one of the abuse lawsuits that's being put against him has been dismissed because of the statute of limitations being expired. Now, I'm going to go ahead and read this article, and I'm going to point something out, and I think some of you are knowing where I'm going with this. Well, hell, you already know because you see it in the thumbnail. But let me go ahead and get into it. A Los Angeles Superior Court judge dismissed a lawsuit filed by Marilyn Manson's former assistant over the statute of limitations, which expired after 2 years from the alleged crimes. Ashley Walters' initial suit against the vocalist, whose real name is Brian Warner, alleged sexual assault, sexual battery, sexual harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, amongst other claims. She had initially named Warner's label, Marilyn Manson Records Incorporated, as a co-defendant. Warner has denied all claims of sexual abuse. The plaintiff has pleaded too few facts and too late to keep this case in court, Judge Michael Stern said, according to CBS News. Regarding the statute of limitations, he wrote, reading the first amended complaint as a whole, Walters pleads that she was aware of the actions against her by the time she left her employment. Thus, 9 to 10 years passed until the filing of the action, far beyond the 2-year limitations periods of her claims. In her initial suit, Walters claimed Warner approached her in March 2010 to compliment her photography. They later met when Warner allegedly asked her to undress for photos, eventually forcing her hand into his underwear, according to the suit. She claimed that at one point Warner told her he loved when girls looked like they had just been violated. It says something else, but you know I'm covering it up for the sake of this video. She officially agreed to work as Warner's personal assistant in August 2010. She claimed he had an explosive temper and would break furniture and berate her. The next month, she claimed Warner pushed her into the lap of an actor at the Spike TV Scream Awards and said the actor could, quote-unquote, have her. She alleged he fostered an environment of violence, once breaking down the door to a closet where she was hiding from him and abusing his girlfriends. She claimed she saw him throw a prop skull at actress Evan Rachel Wood so forcefully that it left a welt on her stomach. She also claimed he would hide drugs in her luggage at airports and allegedly plied her with cocaine to get her to work up to 48 hours straight. He fired her in October 2011. In March, Walters filed an amended lawsuit explaining that she felt she had repressed memories of Warner's alleged abuse and battery until recently. She also added that she felt threatened by Warner's lawyers with retaliatory legal action for appearing in Wood's recently released Phoenix Rising documentary. A month later, in response to a demurrer from Warner's counsel, Walters' lawyers James Vagnini told Rolling Stone he felt the amended filing addresses the court's concerns regarding statutes of limitations and established that Ms. Walters suffered such severe harm while working for Mr. Warner that she repressed the vast majority of abuse she was subjected to, and that the nature of the abuse should strip Warner of any statute of limitation defense. We are deeply disappointed in the court's decision today, Walters' attorney said. If allowed to stand, this decision would drastically limit the ability of victims of abuse to obtain justice through the legal system. While the court based its decision on the timeliness of Ashley's claims and not the merits, we disagree with the court's interpretation of the law. We remain confident that a full review of the facts in this case will result in a successful appeal, which we plan on filing. Nobody gets to choose exactly how they process abuse or threats, Walters says in a statement. I am disheartened in the court's decision today, not just for my case, but for the message it sends to other survivors out there trying to balance how they process abuse with arbitrary court deadlines. We will not let this hurdle stop us from shining a light on what happened to me and others. A rep for Warner declined to comment. Warner is still facing lawsuits from 3 women, including Game of Thrones actress Esme Bianco, model Ashley Morgan Smithine, and a Jane Doe. Bianco claimed in her lawsuit that Warner violated her, held her captive, and beat her with a whip, among other charges. Smithine alleged sexual assault, sexual battery, and human trafficking, among other claims in her filing. According to People, Doe's suit also alleged that Warner violated and sexually abused her. The 3 other lawsuits are still pending. Wood accused Warner of grooming and sexual abuse on Twitter in February 2021. That same month, the LA County Sheriff's Department opened an investigation into Warner, looking into the incidents that occurred between 2009 and 2011. The department had not issued updates on its investigation. Since Wood came forward, more than a dozen women have come forward with allegations of sexual misconduct against Warner. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because they talked about, of course, the statute of limitations, saying they were pretty much up. And according to this, they said it was only a 2-year window. That's a very short window. Now, this allegedly happened back in 2010. But before I get into the meat of this, let me just say I wish he would have said something way back then. Like way back then. I know people will say, oh, you don't know what's going through the minds of the person, you know, this, that, and the third. But this is all the more reason why they have to, because they'll pull something like this and they'll use it against them. Then they'll say, oh, this person is lying. They're trying to get money. Why didn't they say anything then, and all this, that, and the third. So I would say not even risk letting something like this just slide for so long. But now let me get to the meat of this. This happened allegedly back in 2010. So you're talking 12 years ago that this allegedly happened. Bill Cosby got piled on through hearsay for stuff that happened way past 12 years ago. We're talking stuff that happened 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years ago. And you would think that the statute of limitations that is being benefited for Marilyn Manson in his case would be benefited for Bill Cosby. That's a loud and resounding hell no. It is not. They completely switched the rules up when it came to Bill Cosby. They even wrote an article about it. I think either I or Harvey talked about it, or maybe Nicole talked about it, because I know all 3 of us were really following that Bill Cosby thing closely, and especially Nicole, because she actually went and sat in on the trials. And speaking of Bill Cosby, I think he's supposed to be going back to court soon in LA for another trial or something, for not for the same exact type of trial like he was before, but it's kind of linked, and I think that's supposed to be coming up soon. But anyway, the point is, they literally broke the law with the statute of limitations, because the statute of limitations should be something that's set in stone on the books no matter who it is. But when it came to Bill Cosby, they were adamant on getting him so much that they literally put their own rules to the side and brought in this other special rule specifically for Bill Cosby, and saying, oh, we're not going to follow the statute of limitations thing here. We're going to like leave it wide open so we can have a reason to go after him. If Bill Cosby had the same treatment that Marilyn Manson is getting right now, Bill Cosby would have never gone to jail. He would have never did 1 day in jail. It most likely wouldn't even been a trial. But what gets me though is you had a lot of people, and unfortunately a lot of people that look like you and I, black people, saying how much power Bill Cosby has. Now get this. Bill Cosby has been around for decades. I mean, he's been around since probably some of our grandparents' day, since their youth, most likely. Entertaining the masses for so many years, and has amassed a good amount of wealth that will carry his family for the rest of their days, as long as they take care of it. He's very influential and he's very well known around the world. Unfortunately, in more recent years, not for the right things, mainly due to mainstream media and their wicked ways. But people claim he had all this power and all this influence and whatnot. But even he, with all his wealth, all his influence, and all his fame and celebrity, he could not beat the system of Dub S. The only system that would be a hindrance for him, as it is for many black people, even if you're a black celebrity. So it makes you have to question, how much power did he really have? If anything, just on what I read alone with the Marilyn Manson thing, while Marilyn Manson is not as well known outside of people who are fans of him or people who are familiar with him because of the time period that he came out, because he's been out since like what, the 90s. So of course we familiar with, I've never listened to any of his music because he's never appealed to me at all, but I've heard of him. I remember seeing him on, on TV back in the day, and I always thought he was weird then. But even with his positioning, which I would say is beneath Bill Cosby as far as influence, definitely wealth and celebrity, even he was able to flex, or have the system flex for him, with this statute of limitation or this lawsuit being dismissed. Bill Cosby couldn't get that. I hope y'all are picking up what I'm putting down. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I want to know from all those people that said Bill Cosby had all this power and influence, where's that energy now? I need to know, because maybe I'm confused by it. Because I always said Bill Cosby may have all of this wealth and influence and fame, but he doesn't have as much power as you think. The same thing goes for R. Kelly, Chris Brown, Cuba Gooding Jr., and the late great king of music himself, Michael Jackson. Even he didn't have that much power over the system of Dub S. And he held a lot of power and influence. But like I said, when it comes to the system of Dub S, that's the one right there that will humble you. I'm telling you, y'all better pick up that Black Bible, aka the ISIS Papers, and read it if you haven't done so already, because it literally opens up your mind to a lot of things that you thought you knew that you didn't know. That's why it's real easy for me to talk about these topics the way that I do. And that was way before I even started reading this book. But now I really get it now. Like now it's like it's implanted in my head. It's not going nowhere. But yeah, it seems to me Marilyn Manson has more power than a Bill Cosby, if this is the outcome. And the thing is, this drop of the lawsuit with the statute of limitations and whatnot, that's going to literally not look good for his other accusers. Because, if they drop one, they're going to start dropping the rest. And the rest seem to be a little bit more recent than the first accusers that was 12 years ago. And that's my take on it.